Similarly to a topic we went over last season, in this video, we're going to take a look at some players that haven't worked out for their respective teams, meaning that these players who were either traded by the deadline last season or signed in free agency this summer have yet to live up to expectations. And with that, here are 5 NHL players that haven't worked out for their new teams. Shortly after Tampa Bay went on to capture their second championship in a row, GM Billy Guerin did something that shocked many throughout the hockey world, as Guerin decided to buy out both Zach Parise's and Ryan Suter's identical contracts shortly before free agency began. Even prior to the surprise in the Twin Cities taking place, there was already an increasing amount of speculation that Parise could be sought after by his former GM from his days in New Jersey, Lou Lamoriello. Therefore, after Parise made things official on Long Island, the news didn't come as a shock to many throughout the hockey community. But as the Islanders' season commenced, it became increasingly clear, game after game, that the team didn't have the same amount of firepower that it displayed last campaign. And among the slew of struggling players on the Islanders roster is none other than Parise himself, as number 11, who was a healthy scratch last season for Minnesota, has only been able to muster up 5 points after 25 games played. His lone goal in the season thus far was scored 23 games in, as his shooting percentage is currently a measly 2.5. Even still, though, considering his contract is valued at league minimum at $750,000, things could be much worse for Lamoriello and his club. Hopefully for Parise and his team, who have been battling COVID on and off this season, things will begin to turn around for the better. As one of the league's most traveled journeymen still playing, Michael Delzado, upon signing his most recent contract with the Senators, began suiting up for his 7th team. Ottawa, who is widely known as one of the younger teams league-wide, was likely looking to Delzado to meet an obvious need and to provide some veteran leadership for the group. Unfortunately, however, after being slotted in alongside Nikita Zaitsev for the majority of the 10 contests that he appeared in, it then became apparent that Delzado's struggles to defend and to remain consistent on the back end were still apparent from his days in Columbus. Therefore, after being a healthy scratch for the season opener and only appearing in 10 contests for the Sens, it was announced early this December that the defenseman had been put on waivers. For Pierre Dorion and company, despite the defenseman's contract being of lower value at $2 million for a pair of seasons, this only reiterated what many spectators were already saying, that Ottawa's pro scouting department continues to fail their organization time and time again. After failing to reach an agreement with Joe Sakic and company in Colorado, Philip Grubauer was given the raise that he was looking for in the Emerald City, as the netminder was given a sizable 6-year deal, valued at $35 million with the Kraken. And really, it wasn't a surprise to many that the German Tendy was able to score such a deal elsewhere, as the netminder had just come off a season that many considered Vezina-worthy. Therefore, for Ron Francis, bringing in Grubauer, who had just recorded under a 2 goals against average in the season before, was a sure way to jumpstart his new club in the crease. Unfortunately, though, as Seattle has struggled to score, Grubauer has struggled to save, as a former Vezina nominee has had to be pulled multiple times from the nets, currently tied for the league worst in save percentage amongst goalies who have played in 10 games or more with a .882 and sporting a 3.29 goals against average. Grubauer is on track to have his worst season of his career thus far. Hopefully, though, number 31 will somehow be able to turn things around between the pipes sooner rather than later for Seattle. Things for Nick Felino last deadline were pretty hectic, to say the least. As a forward, after several seasons with CBJ, embarks on a brief stint with Toronto while following in his father Mike's footsteps. But after the Maple Leafs came up short in the first round of the postseason, Felino decided to embrace all things Boston, as he secured a short-term deal with the B valued at $7.6 million. And for Boston, Felino likely fit the criteria for being a natural fit in their bottom 6, as number 17 is known for his hard-nosed hard-nosed game that's saturated with physicality and grit. Even still, despite the intangibles such as leadership in the locker room that he definitely brings, Felino hasn't exactly produced like the Bruins would have hoped. Currently, looking for his first goal in 18 games into the season, the forward has only been able to record 4 points on the season. As Boston continues to struggle with a depleted lineup, Felino will hopefully be able to capitalize on more opportunities for the B in return. And yet another well-traveled journeyman on this list, similarly to Delzado, Galchenyuk has been brought in to play for a team that once traded him away. As a 27-year-old, after playing for 2 different Canadian teams last season, was brought back to the desert with hopes that he could once again find his game. And really, his season with the Yotes, offensively anyways, wasn't half bad, as Galchenyuk was able to notch an impressive 41 points after 72 games played, with 19 of those being goals. Therefore, for league minimum salary, if the forward was able to even come close to having such a season again with Arizona, the contract would look like a huge bargain. Unfortunately, however, things haven't panned out for Galchenyuk as the Yotes would have hoped. After battling injuries earlier this season, the former first-round pick found himself being a healthy scratch for a game against Minnesota. Currently, searching for his first goal in the season after 13 games played, Galchenyuk has only been able to notch 2 points on the season thus far. Currently undergoing COVID protocol, it'll be interesting to see if he can improve his game for the Yotes upon his return to the lineup.